that member, not
Mr. Speaker.
himself.
Mr. Speaker, to the Minister of Finance, which state-owned enterprises have indicated to him a need for additional capital, and what options is he considering to meet those needs?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, discussions about the particular capital needs of particular SOEs are commercially sensitive, and I don't intend to divulge the full detail of those here. What I can tell the member is that SOEs regularly have discussions with government about how much of their profits should be retained in order to allow them to continue investing. Additional capital is considered where there is a sound commercial case under the policy constraints the government has given itself. For SOEs requiring savings, we can either lower their dividends or we borrow in international markets in order to invest in SOEs.
The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, when did the Minister tell the Minister of Energy, Jerry Brownlee, about Solid Energy Chairman John Palmer's intention to call for the partial sale of Solid Energy during a speech last Thursday?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, I can't recall every discussion I've had with Mr. Brownlee about Solid Energy, but I can assure you there are regular discussions, because Mr. Brownlee is a very active energy minister and a strong advocate of the development of New Zealand's energy resources.
Aaron Gilmore.
To the Minister, by how much does he expect the government's assets to grow over the next few years?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, in the budget outlined the fact that the government owns $220 billion worth of assets, which includes something like $70 billion worth of financial assets and over $50 billion worth of commercial assets. The government expects that the value of that $200 billion portfolio will grow by around $35 billion over the next 4 years. But that is if we manage it well. I'd have to say the standard of management of some of these assets has been very poor, and the government is working hard to lift their performance.
The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
To the Minister, when John Palmer told him he was going to call for the partial sale of Solid Energy, did he tell the chairman that the comments were, quote, out of line, unquote, and, quote, stepping over the mark, unquote? Or was Energy Minister Jerry Brownlee wrong when he made those comments and said, quote, no one was particularly happy about it, unquote?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the members continuing the habit the opposition have of trying to put words in people's mouths. That was not the nature of the communication between the chairman and myself.
The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Will the Minister rule out ever selling some or all of Solid Energy?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, the government's position on asset sales is clear. No asset sales in this term of office. And if that changes, we will go to the electorate and debate the issues.
Question. The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, if the Minister is not ruling out possible future partial privatisation of Solid Energy, in what respect did John Palmer, quote, go too far, unquote?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the member can play the game of ruling out, but actually Labor's policy on these matters is much looser than
Point
National's.
of order, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, by attempting to refer a question back to the opposition, the Minister is failing to address it.
I think it's a fair point, actually. The Minister shouldn't comment on the opposition before attempting to answer the question. I think it's a fair point. The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, as I said, we're not going to play the game of ruling things in or ruling out. The policy is the same whether the chairman of an SOE or an ordinary taxpayer. The government's not selling any assets this term, and if it changes its mind, it'll campaign on it in 2011.
Question number 5, Hone Harawira.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker, kia ora tātou.